the cultural memory of Frankenstein is made up of so many different touchstones that at this point, if you want the sort of platonic ideal of a Frankenstein movie, this is that movie.
This is the most definitive Frankenstein film adaptation to date. I don't know for sure if it's the best one.
Yeah. I also think Del Toro has introduced a brand new angle that I have not seen anyone else explore.
Hello, we just got out of seeing Guillermo Del Toro's Frankenstein in theaters, a rare privilege available to us simply because we happen to be close to the, two theaters, even in New York, that were playing this movie in theaters.
Are they not doing like a wide release at all?
I don't think they are.
That's fucked up because it looks great.
It's a great
big screen.
It's beautiful on the big screen.
This is the first that we're talking about it. We were sitting next to each other for the entire 2.5 hours and then better part of an hour getting home on the subway.
Did not talk about it.
We did not talk about it. First impressions right here. So before let me make sure you guys know that our Frankenstein credentials are pretty good. Dalton, you could say that this movie, though it's only been out for a day, has already changed the course of your life.
Yeah. So we have a podcast where we rebooted the dark universe of Universal monster movies, which necessitated that one of us write a Frankenstein movie, and so I did.
Yeah, for the very first script that we did for our show was your take on Frankenstein.
Back in 2022, Guillermo Del Toro's Frankenstein had not even been announced yet, and actually in that episode, we floated the idea of Guillermo Del Toro directing it.
I argued against it because I'm like, he's already made that movie a couple times.
And we are arguing against it because we thought that he would want to do his own thing, right?
Like he did, right? He wrote for the screen and directed this.
He wouldn't want my script to do Frankenstein. If Guillermo Del Toro is going to do it, he's going to do his version of Frankenstein.
Which Del Toro movies are Frankensteins to you?
Okay. First of all, I think all of his movies are about searching for belonging in an alienating world.
Yes. But that's monster movies. What are Del Toro's Frankenstein movies? What are his
Hellboy
homunculus?
Is a Frankenstein?
Yes.
The Shape of Water is sort of a Frankenstein.
That's a Black Lagoon.
It's a Black Lagoon, but
they find him.
It has more in common with the Ark of Frankenstein than it does with the Ark of Creature.
But they found the body. They didn't make it.
The man looks like the creature from the Black Lagoon, but his story is Frankenstein.
I don't think so.
Okay, well,
he writes stories about creatures with hearts of gold.
Yes,
we can say that
for sure.
And that is an overarching Guillermo del Toro. So Frankenstein was a slam dunk for him. I ended up taking that pitch and expanding it into something I wanted to try to sell. And my agent was like, Guillermo del Toro is actually about to do something. And so it got nixed. But I'm holding on to it for now. There's going to be Frankenstein Fever and we'll want a new take.
Well, that's the thing.
We're already doing a Bride movie this year.
Gyllenhaal's The Bride.
Yeah, and luckily my pitch doesn't have anything to do with either of them.
If you want to know more about it, check the link that I just put at the top of the screen.
So we've been watching this one carefully for a while because as writers of Universal Monsters for years and years now, a new Frankenstein movie was definitely intriguing, and we all love Guillermo del Toro. Sarah's bona fides here are that she's spooky.
I'm spooky. I love Del Toro.
Yep, and you're
probably one of my favorite directors. And
you're a horror writer.
I'm a horror writer.
That's right. You can see Sarah's play Faustine, musical, I should say, Faustine, and I'll put the information about that on the screen now, too. It's flashing right now. Faustine.
If you're in New York City. So what did we think?
I really liked it.
I did, too.
Yeah, I loved it. I was surprised when I went on Letterboxd afterwards and saw a bunch of mixed reviews.
That is surprising to me.
It was very weird.
I mean,
I thought it was great.
I thought it was very easy to like because I thought it's been a long time since I read the book, but it felt like a very faithful adaptation, still with an angle. Yeah. And I think that's what people want.
I don't know. So for me, what I like about this movie is it is much like the monster himself. Stitched together from basically every other Frankenstein take, right? Like the Shelley book is not an outright monster horror the way that the movie is, or the way that it's even remembered in popular culture. But now we think of Frankenstein's monster as a horror icon. But you go back to the 31 version, and it's very different from the book. The monster doesn't speak. It doesn't have intelligence. It has the heart of gold, but it's a very different take than what's in the book. There have been attempts to kind of bridge that, but they all kind of either go sort of too period piecey with it and more about the doctor and less horror angle, more gothic than horror, or, I think you can go the other way too much, or you go off the rails with whatever like I Frankenstein was. But this one seemed to be the sort of Frankenstein movie everyone has in their heads of like, this is a horror movie. In fact, it's one of the few Guillermo Del Toro movies I would call a straightforward horror movie.
Yeah. It opens up straight up out of the box. We have some of the comic book action Hellboy era Guillermo Del Toro a little bit, and the way that we are introduced to the creature is through like heightened, gnarly, but like kind of exciting fuck yeah violence.
Yeah.
Which somehow still fits into meshing with what you also have in sort of the sort of serious, almost like it's all heightened, right? It's all very arch.
Yeah.
But it is a character drama. It is a romance. It is but it has these flashes of like cartoon violence.
Did either of you see the National Theater live Benedict Cumberbatch and name escaping me Frankenstein where they swapped the role?
No.
Oh my gosh. It's, I think, about as faithful of an adaptation as this movie, but it lacks those horror elements. But it was the first time I saw a performance of Frankenstein bother with the monster speaks eloquently.
Yeah.
And it was such a revelation of like, oh, this does work, but I would not call that production horror.
Yeah.
And so this one brought, it brought like Frankenstein's monster speaks eloquently and poetically and scientifically, and he's terrifying and gross, and there are some really gnarly body horror things
There's
happening.
some really gnarly violence. The cultural memory of Frankenstein is made up of so many different touchstones that at this point, if you want the sort of platonic ideal of a Frankenstein movie, this is that movie. It's sort of like if you, God, this is going to get nerdy, but like as a comic book fan, you want like the version of the character just from like, oh, comics and movie and like everything kind of mashes together. And then you go back and read the comic book and it's like, oh, Wolverine didn't have this Weapon X backstory for like 100 issues.
The original creators of that character have nothing to do with that origin story.
Yeah, and so like it all develops so slowly over time that your memory in your mind of like Wolverine, it's like, okay, well, where do I go for that version? And this kind of combines it all together. So if you want, Frankenstein is a horror icon, but it's also based on this book. Where do I go to like find that movie? This is it.
Yes.
I completely agree. One of the things I was thinking about in my head is anything that you could want from a Frankenstein movie other than I want it to be exactly like the one I grew up with. Like if you happen to grow up with the 31 version. This is the most definitive Frankenstein film adaptation to date. I don't know for sure if it's the best one. It's too soon.
It's too soon to say if it's the best one. I'm going to take it a step further. Right now, we're saying it's the platonic ideal of a Frankenstein movie, right? Because it has this horror element. It feels like the 31, but it feels like the book.
Yeah.
I also think Del Toro has introduced a brand new angle thematically on the story that I have not seen anyone else explore. And that's why I think if it is the best, that is what catapults it to best. The book itself does man playing God. Everyone since then has explored Victor Frankenstein failing as a father. This is the first adaptation I have seen where Victor Frankenstein also fails as a mother.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's all of this stuff with him like caressing that this ivory figurine of a pregnant woman and him taking it apart and putting it back together. This Frankenstein is trying to be father. He's trying to be God. He's also trying to be mother. And he is the most androgynous looking character in the movie other than the creature.
Oh, can we also, first of all, great observation. Secondly, Oscar Isaac is so hot in this movie.
Oh my God.
Our theater was audibly horny for Oscar Isaac.
The person sitting next to me, every time he had his shirt off or really even just looked near the camera, was like, ooh. And I was like, you know what? Like, we talk about sexuality as a spectrum. I would identify pretty strongly as straight. One ticket for me.
I have
absolutely
not,
100%. Bring me that Oscar Isaac. So hot in this movie.
I have not been finding myself attracted to men very much lately. But that when he...
But at one point, Sarah did lean over to me and say, I'm going to get him pregnant.
Yeah.
There is the scene where he is stalking Elizabeth through this church.
Yeah.
A great sort of the romance in this, which we can talk about more later, is a lot of fun most of the time. His costume during that is like, I'm not a costume person. I'm not like a menswear dress up person. I want to wear that. I want to be this man. I don't think I'm shaving my beard, though.
The movie is long, and I think that might turn people off, especially if people are watching this at home. Like, it's such a great theater experience.
It's so fucked up that it's not getting a wide release.
It's so beautiful, and I feel like people
God
watching it
gets a Best Picture nod, and they have to put it back in theaters.
Yeah.
The thing, like watching it at home, I can feel it. I can see like people feeling it's too long or it's too slow or something like that. It does add a lot more to the front of the story by introducing a lot of the Mia Goth stuff, and so then it actually skips a lot of the end of the book where they actually do build the companion. They build the bride in the book, and this just kind of skips right over that. But at that point, I was like, okay, I'm ready for this to wrap up, and so I thought it was a good
Physically,
choice.
time exists. I get that. But it didn't feel long. I go to the bathroom in almost every movie I watch in the movie theater, and I didn't in this one. So either I'm dehydrated or
well, that's definitely true.
No, I had 2 glasses of water today.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did feel the length a little bit.
And I felt a little bit.
And here's what it is. So I have this thing. We saw it at Alamo Drafthouse in Lower Manhattan, one of only 2 theaters in New York that was playing it this weekend. The other one was the Angelica. And a quirk of Alamo Drafthouse that I've become part of the calculus of my movie experience personally is they always bring the check in 40 minutes before credits.
Is that when they bring it up?
As far as I know, they bring you the check 40 minutes before the credits.
It seemed a little early this time.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, because I thought to myself, because they brought it out at The Creature's Tale.
Yes. The movie is divided into part 1 and part 2, Victor Frankenstein's Tale and The Creature's Tale.
Which I think is a smart way to do it.
It's a smart
I like
way
that
to do
choice.
it, but we are programmed as an audience to think about movies in thirds, not in first and second act like in theater.
But
right?
it was 3 parts.
Well, there was a prelude.
Yes.
But
it's so short.
That's really short. That's the appetizer, right?
Yes.
We were thinking of this, and so it makes the movie feel lopsided in that we get this second title card when the movie is 2/3 the way through.
Yeah, we get a lot of Victor's side and then less with the creature.
That there's going to be at least one more part because the first title card says 1, Victor's Tale. You know there's going to be at least a 2. So part of your brain, at least part of my brain, was thinking, okay, when are we going to start part 2? Because there's going to be at least 2, and part of me was thinking, are we going to do Elizabeth's?
I think musical theater brain saved me here.
Okay.
Oh, because you have
musical theater, it's 2 acts, and the second one's always shorter.
Yes, exactly.
You had
so I was
the woods.
Yeah. I was like, oh great.
Yeah.
We're in the final act.
Yeah. I think that did save. We on our show break everything into 3-act structure.
But also,
like,
if not for that
screenplay-wise.
check coming out, I would be like, are we only halfway through this movie? But because the check came in, I'm like, oh, I guess part 2 is going to be shorter. And it was. If you're watching at home on Netflix, at that point in the movie, you might be like, how much is left of this? And then you press the button to show the timeline. You'll see, oh, I guess there's only about 45 minutes left.
I was prepared. I have a really poor sense of time, I think, generally speaking. But like when the Creature's Tale thing came up, I was kind of prepared for us to be halfway. I was like, oh, we have another hour 15 to go.
I wouldn't have hated it more
felt
time.
fine.
Yeah, I don't think the Creature's Tale felt rushed at all, which is good. I mean, yeah, because there's a lot more build up to do with Victor's story. The other thing that's significantly different than any other adaptation I've seen is the ending, which I don't know how much we want to go into spoilers here, but
I think that was kind of similar to that stage version I saw, unless my brain is just combining things at this point.
I thought the ending was really well earned. I thought, because also the stuff with, I don't know if he's named Delancey in this version, but the blind man is really touching and really well done. I think better than in any adaptation.
Portrayed by David Bradley.
That was a really great section. And I think then it perfectly sets up the creature's resolution of his arc there. And I think also the fact that the creature gets to tell his tale in front of the wounded Victor helps set up Victor's
redemption
there at the end and his ending. And so I really liked the ending a lot. And the thing with the ship captain's decision as well.
Yeah, you know that these 2 main characters have sort of definitive ends they're going to have to reach, right? And they introduce a character who will have to go through a change over the course of the film in real time.
Right. With agency.
With agency, that's right. And like the actions of both of these other 2 characters are going to bring him to the conclusion of a much simpler, much smaller arc. So the framing device is not just a framing device. It is still another character story. There is still movement that happens.
Yeah.
And I really like that choice.
Really great performances also all around. I mean, Jacob Elordi is incredible as the creature. I've still been, I know he's been in a lot of stuff recently, and I liked him in the Elvis movie, but I guess I was still like...
That's not him.
Yeah.
He's in Priscilla.
In Priscilla, that's what I mean.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, that's the Elvis. I didn't see the Baz Luhrmann one.
No, that would have been an Austin Butler.
No, the Baz Luhrmann one to me doesn't exist. When I say the Elvis movie, I mean Priscilla.
I think this is the ideal role for Jacob Elordi.
Well, yeah, I was like,
his monster hot
It really worked.
Weird looking face, and but in the way that people find hot. You know, we talk about.
I am an ironic lover of the Kissing Booth movies.
I've never seen those, but
nor should you.
Okay.
This is the ideal role for.
I'm having a tough time picturing Andrew Garfield in this role, even though he
was supposed to be him.
Yes, he was the original cast.
Wow.
I could see it.
Jacob Elordi was the replacement for Andrew Garfield.
I could see it because, and this is the other angle that I don't know if Del Toro intended, but it did land on me this way that I find really interesting. People talk about like, oh, the 31 destroyed our idea visually of the monster because it made him ugly, when in the book he's described as like kind of Greek god beautiful.
Yeah.
And so I was like prepared for that to happen as soon as they like unveiled the creature. What I wasn't prepared for was like immediately in my head, I made Saint Sebastian references. He's like one of the first martyrs, if not the first martyr. And he's pierced with arrows and like he has this like torturous death. But he's always depicted as the cuntiest twink in the most BDSM situation of all time. And so he's like become a weird patron saint of twinks and people into BDSM. And so like I saw this, like he's always like very half naked, and that isn't part of his story, or fully naked. And so yeah, this like beautiful chiseled body, physically tortured. I was like, yeah, any twink could play that.
I was meaning to ask you,
twonk. Come on,
any twonk.
Twonk.
As our Catholic correspondent, the cut in his side, was that a very obvious
absolutely.
Jesus reference?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
just making
Well,
sure.
I mean, not
I didn't
just
know if the location was right.
And he's up on the crucifix.
Yeah,
I've never seen a Frankenstein put on a fructifix?
A fructifix?
Frankenfix.
Frankenfix, yeah.
I really like the way this movie looks at bodies. Whenever, like, there's a scene in which, maybe this is very normal to do with a dissection, I don't know, but there's a scene in which Victor and Elizabeth are having kind of a heated, sort of like sexually charged moment. There's a body that is in like a completely knelt down prayer position, head down, arms in front, with all of the skin and flesh on their back removed.
Yeah,
Which
right?
I will say, number one, Mia Goth points out is beautiful. And number two, looks like a vulva.
Okay.
Did you think about how it looked like a vulva, Dylan?
At the time, no. I was thinking about the pose mostly, and like
The
how it's all
pose
very,
is also-
it's all very artful.
You weren't
know?
sure why it was making you horny, and now
Now
you
I know.
Yeah, now
So
you know.
the pierced side thing, there's like a tradition of depicting just the pierced side and nothing else around it. And this was like a medieval depiction, and it always, always, always looks like a vulva. And there's like argument about whether that was intentional or not, as like a divine feminine side of Christ. That Christ came to earth as fully man, but then in this moment, this like death moment, he also has a feminine gash.
Everyone's favorite word.
We should also talk about regarding bodies. Like I said, like, you know, this movie expands a lot in the beginning. And really the one area really expands is the creation of the creature. Because famously in the book, they glide right over that. It'd be like Victor's like, yeah, I decided to make a guy, and then I did, and he was alive. Like, I mean, really, like the preparation for creating the creature is like 2 or 3 pages in the book, and then he's just there.
This is like a whole hour of the movie.
Yeah, and this is where a lot of the gore comes in. A lot of the horror is like the gruesomeness of the dead human form. And like when he's putting the monster together and the lab is just soaked in blood and he's hacking away at limbs.
But the gore is very playful. Like
Playful and
the gore is
beautiful.
playful,
Playful and
yeah,
beautiful.
recently saw The Long Walk.
Yeah.
That movie, the gore
Not
is
playful.
is not playful. It is
No.
just there to
Punishing.
hurt and upset you.
Yeah.
This is that sort of like pulpy, almost campy kind of.
Right. Are you
show
laughing
vibe.
at it? Are you amazed by it? Are you disgusted? Like
There
there's
are times
every
where
reaction.
you're going to laugh about him hacking somebody apart. And those moments of levity are so well earned, I think.
It's funny in the way that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is funny.
Yeah, exactly. I found it to be the most fun flavor of macabre without ever going into the point where like, oh, you're having too much fun and I can't take this seriously anymore.
Yeah, agreed.
Everyone's performances are so cranked up, but it feels appropriate because of the period and because of the genre.
And because the stylization of the visuals.
Exactly. And Oscar Isaac is going so big and it so works.
It's fun to see, yeah.
The scenes where he is like given full permission to be funny. He's so funny.
He's really funny.
Just like this really beautifully built to comedic moment. Christoph Waltz's character is like a business partner of his, and he makes his big play for his scheme at the end of the at the climax of the movie, and he makes this big play. Frozen and Oscar Isaac just looks up and goes, "No!" It almost feels like it's a fucking comedic anachronism. It's like a moment of like modern comedic sensibilities creeping into this period piece.
But it's so human.
Yeah. It's so human and perfect.
It was really good. I'm glad we're all in agreement on it because at least from the preview letterbox, people seem really torn on this. I saw a couple low reviews.
I don't know what people want.
Yeah. We'll go and we'll look through in detail, I guess, in the future, and people will leave their comments, I hope, of what they think of the movie.
Yeah,
we have not talked a lot about Mia Goth, though.
That's true. I'm on the fence. I think her performance is very good. I love the introduction of her character. It's extremely Guillermo Del Toro for the romance to pivot to she falls for the monster. I don't remember if that's the book.
I don't think she's falling for the monster.
Well, it's a complicated thing, right? It's not like immediately like it's love, right? But it's not necessarily like she sees herself in him and she sees what she wants life to be.
I think she sees a bug.
Oh.
Yeah, she love bugs.
A simpler form of life that is more pure.
Yes. I love bugs. I'm a big bug lady.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was a kid, I didn't have any words for why I liked bugs. I just wanted to be around them all the time. And my mom thought it was kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
And she went to my grandma and was like, why does Sarah keep a box of dead bugs under her bed? And my grandma was like, she is the kind of person who wants to love the unlovable. And then like when I was like a teenager, unprompted, I was looking at a bunch of bugs at a zoo. And I was like, God, I love how unlovable they are. And my mom was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And so I think I relate to Mia Goth's character because this Elizabeth is interested in insects. And yeah, she's looking for this like pure life form that is unlovable. And if Delancey is the successful Delancey, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's what he is in the Universal, I think.
If he is the successful father that Frankenstein never had, then Elizabeth has the potential to be the successful mother.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely from his side, the maternal, it's definitely a maternal thing.
Oh, I thought from his side it was sexual, but from hers it's maternal.
I mean, I guess it's ambiguous, and I like that.
Yeah, it is okay for it. Like, there's the maternal and the paternal in any romantic relationship anyway.
She bears the burden of being the film's only mother, and only woman. And I say that in two regards because that she is both the only named female character and also plays Victor's mother.
Yes.
So she plays both the women in the movie. That does create a frustration where you end up having to read gender a lot through the lens of only this one character.
Yes, and that is complicated. But at least as a woman, I didn't walk away from it feeling like boxed into any kind of like virgin mother crone type situation or
that's good.
Mrs. Frankenstein, heaven loves you more than I could say.
Hey, you're gonna get us. You're gonna get us demonetized.
We should wrap this up.
We should.
We
got
all
a whole
love
other
Frankenstein.
podcast. Hey, if you want to hear us talk more about Frankenstein, if you want to hear Dalton's detailed pitch of a very different Frankenstein adaptation,
what I liked is, like I said, like
tread over your work at all.
Yeah, Guillermo Del Toro kind of stitched together all the existing versions of Frankenstein, which was different than my approach, which was to do something completely different than anything that had been done before. And you can check that out on our YouTube page right now. My pitch on Frankenstein is about an hour long. I was glad to see him sort of, I think, pick up all the pieces that have been strewn over the last century
and stitch them into one handsome man.
Wow.
And just like the monster, I think it was more than the sum of its parts.